With just a few days left until the anniversary of January 6th and the insurrection that happened on January 6th, members of the January 6th committee hit the media circuit on Sunday, and Liz Cheney was one of those. And they're all, letting us know that they'll be releasing a report in the summer and then a final report and wrapping up their investigation in the fall. And I think that they're doing this for a couple of reasons: to allow Democrats to know, hey, you don't have to win the midterms. We're going to get our work done before that. But also to let the American people know that, information is coming. And Liz Cheney was one of those that was making the media circuit on Sunday. And I saw her on Face the Nation, and I wanted to talk about Liz Cheney and some of the things that she said. Now, Liz Cheney is one of the Republicans that is basically no longer considered a Republican because she went against Donald Trump. The daughter of Dick Cheney, she seems to be a little more idealistic. I'll give her that. Like she truly seems to care about the Constitution. And she's been one of the few Republicans brave enough to really stand against Donald Trump, and pretty much ruined her career because of it. Now, she's running for re-election. It'll be interesting to see if she can actually win re-election. But my prediction is she won't, because she went against the current grain of the GOP. Now, the Overton window in this country has been progressively going farther and farther right. And I will admit that this last time, the push that Donald Trump caused the window to go even farther right, that was a big push. And it seems like some of these Republicans just weren't ready for that. And so a few Republicans didn't follow the gravy train. At least they stood out enough to be noticed for standing out and challenging Donald Trump and this new GOP. So I want to watch a few clips of the interview that Liz Cheney did on Face the Nation.
Look, I think that if what he has been saying since he left office is any indication, former President Trump is likely again this week to make the same false claims about the election that he knows to be false, and the same false claims about the election that he knows caused violence on January 6th.
All right, so she's talking about what everybody's worried about, the press conference that Donald Trump is going to give on the anniversary of January 6th. Trump does not care at all about the optics, about what the media is going to say for it. And of course, he's going to come out and say that the election was stolen. That's the whole narrative. That's the whole justification for all of these red states changing their election laws, because they want to make sure that a couple red states don't fucking turn blue again. They want to make sure that those red states that did go blue with Biden don't go blue again. So they're really worried, and they're trying to game the system to make it easier for them to win these close elections. And it's obvious that's what they're trying to do in response to the allegations that Donald Trump has been putting forward since the election. So there is no way in hell that Donald Trump is going to hold this press conference on January 6th and not say the things that he's been saying all along. And quite honestly, he has been encouraged to continue to say these things because nothing has happened. The January 6th committee has been pretty hush-hush on what they've been finding out, which I think is a huge mistake. I think they should be releasing everything. You can't allow Donald Trump to continue his narrative, but you have, and he will continue that narrative. And if you're not going to be able to press criminal charges against him for his culpability in that January 6th insurrection, well, that's going to be a disaster for 2024.
I think that it is indeed very concerning, given what we know happened in the lead up to the 6th and what the committee is finding out about the events of that day. But I think that it's not surprising. But again, he knows these claims caused violence. And we've seen now people who were in the Capitol, people who've been arrested because of their activities on that day. They themselves have told us in court filings, they've told us on social media, we've seen it on videos, that they were here because Donald Trump told them to be here.
And this is nothing new. This is the talking point that we've heard. And this is my main point with this January 6th committee is you never really give us anything that we don't know. So this narrative has been allowed to continue. You make a show when the Steve Bannons of the world don't show, and you have to send out an indictment or whatever. You make a show of that, but you don't really inform us of what was happening. Now, I think we have learned a little bit. I think that there has been leaks, but I think that those leaks actually do more damage with that side of the country that believes Donald Trump anyway. My opinion is it would be a lot more viable for people to get along with it. For one, if you actually show the evidence, and if it was coming from one of these people in this committee, even though Republicans have already laid the groundwork to dismiss this committee's findings altogether. The Kensingers and the Cheneys, well, they're rhinos. They're not real Republicans. They've sold out to the Democrats. I hear talk radio talk about it all the time. Oh, Cheney going along with the people that called her father a war criminal and a murderer. And that's true. The left did call her father that because that's what her father was. But guess who else called her father that? Donald Trump.
The committee has firsthand testimony that President Trump was sitting in the dining room next to the Oval Office watching on television as the Capitol was assaulted, as the violence occurred. We know that that is clearly a supreme dereliction of duty. One of the things that the committee is looking at from the perspective of our legislative purpose is whether we need enhanced penalties for that kind of dereliction of duty. But we've certainly never seen anything like that as a nation before.
And, like right here, it kind of hints at that they're really not going to be able to press anything criminally against Donald Trump. And when you're talking about, well, we might have to create new standards, or we might have to create new rules in which to try to punish Trump or punish somebody in the future for doing what Trump did, you're pretty much telling the American people that, yeah, what he did was pretty shitty, but it was legal. And, if it was legal, if Trump, was just dumb enough to egg it on and unintentionally egg this crowd into an insurrection, you should actually come out and say that. You should be honest about it. If you have evidence of that, you should come out and say it. If you have evidence that he was, involved with this from the very beginning, you should come out with that. Let us know. And I know that's what the public hearings are going to be about. And you're going to think that these public hearings are somehow going to maybe turn the tide of the midterms for Democrats. But I think people see you as playing politics when you should just be out and open and upfront and giving the American people the information that we need to have if we're going to make a logical conclusion on this. And I have to add that the logical conclusion is easy without it, but at least for me, but 30 to 40% of the country is all in on Trump. And I think it was somewhere around 8 million people are willing to do violence to get Trump back into office. So we have a problem here. And I think in this moment, we needed this committee to be upfront and open with the information that was coming into them.
One of the things that we've seen in CBS polling is that there is just a hard percentage of the population that believes what the former president is claiming. 8 million people believe in violence to restore him to office. 7 out of 10 Republicans still believe President Biden's illegitimate. 66% believe there was widespread voter fraud. So these numbers are pretty hard here. Why hasn't this conviction abated within your party?
Well, I mean, quite clearly, you're asking the wrong person that. Quite clearly, you're asking the person that didn't go along with that GOP push to the right. You're asking a person that's been ostracized from the party, that is actively being called to either step down or be replaced. I kind of admire Liz Cheney for sticking to her guns, for not doing what every other Republican in the Senate did. I admire her for that, but it makes her the completely wrong person to ask. And maybe you'll get a somewhat truthful answer from her like you wouldn't get from any of those others that just went along with it. But even then, Liz Cheney's a politician. She's going to give you a politician's answer.
Look, I think that we're in a situation where people have got to understand the danger of President Trump and the danger that he posed on that day. If you think, Margaret, he could have simply walked a few feet to the White House briefing room. He could have gone immediately on live television and asked his supporters to stop what was happening, asked them to go home. He failed to do that. He instead, we know, had the motivation. At the same time the violent assault was happening, he's watching television. He's also calling at least one senator urging delay of the electoral vote.
Yes, like we know this. We know this. Is that illegal? That's what you're supposed to be answering. And if you're spending all of this time and all of these resources to get to the conclusion of dereliction of duty, well, we didn't need you for that. We didn't need this committee for that. That was obvious. What we need to know is that legal? And that's the important detail here. Because as you're about to see, she's going to be so worried about Donald Trump taking back office.
So this is a man who has demonstrated that he is at war with the rule of law. He's demonstrated that he's willing to blow through every guardrail of democracy, and he can never be anywhere near the Oval Office again. He's demonstrated a complete lack of fitness for office.
Well, you had your chance for that. You could have convinced some of your other Republicans to vote to remove him from in the Senate. You know, you guys allowed him to get away with this shit. The entire Republican Party did. You condoned it. You covered it up. And yeah, since then, you've come a long ways. But where was you then? When you could have done something that would have kept him out of office. When you could have convinced your fellow Republicans that what happened on January 6th was wrong. And you could have kept him out of office, but you did not do that. Now, the only way you can do that is with some criminal charges here. And if you're not going to get to that criminality, well, then there's nothing stopping him from running for the White House again.
I think one of the really important things that our committee has to do is lay these facts out for the American people so that they really have a sense of the truth of what happened that day, and so that they inform us in terms of our legislative activity going forward.
Yeah, that would be nice. It would have been nice if you guys would have been doing that all along. It would be nice to be able to take some concrete evidences and ask these constitutionalists, these so-called constitutionalists, what they think about that. It would be nice to show these Republicans who's supposed to believe in the Constitution of the United States exactly how Donald Trump allowed the insurrection to happen. And sure, you're going to have your sovereign citizens within that. That's going to be totally fine with that. But I guarantee that, 6 months ago, that information might have changed a lot of minds. Now, I'm not so sure. Now, folks are dug in. Even a year ago, this should have happened immediately after January 6th. It's a year later. We still have no information, basically, except what has leaked into the media. That is a failure, in my opinion. And I think it's too little, too late. But we'll see. Time will tell. I want to thank y'all for watching the video. If you liked it, hit the thumbs up, subscribe, share me on your social media, comment in the comment section below. Hit that bell so you're notified every time I put out a new video or anytime I might have a live stream. I want to thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.